Greetings, vinyl community from Eastern North Carolina. Mr. Rick here once again with another video. It's good to see you. Good to have you with me. And I'll tell you, I've been watching a lot of videos from around the world because I do that. People that are doing what I'm doing and crate digging. I also enjoy those. And I was watching a video of a young man. He was showing records, and he wanted to show the 50 best of his, what he thought was the greatest country music collection. So he pulled out 50 albums, and I'll be honest with you, as a country music fan, I was not in agreement with half of his choices. He was from Europe, and I guess country music over there is not as strong as it is over here, but a lot of the stuff that he was showing I would consider pop music. So it gave me the idea, so why don't I do mine? So I went through my 6,000 record collection and I pulled out what I thought were the greatest country records that I enjoyed. These are not any particular counting down to number one is what I'm trying to say. But what we'll do is we'll start from the 1950s, go through the 1960s, and into the 1970s, and we'll end up in the mid-1980s. Now, there's 168 of these things, so it's going to take more than one week, probably several weeks to get through this. But I thought it was a good idea, so that's what we're going to do for the next few weeks. Is we're going to look at, we may take a break from now and then looking at them, but we'll start in 1956 if we can. 1956, actually this is a reissue. This album came out in 1953 on a 10-inch LP, which I don't have, but I do have a 1956 copy. One of Chet Atkins' albums. I think this is his third or fourth album. It's called Stringing Along, and my jacket's not in very good condition, as you can tell. The paper has been torn off of it. But this is the 1956 reissue of Stringing Along with Chet Atkins. And it's got, several of his hits from the early 50s that he came out with. And it's a fairly good album also. Chet Atkins, Stringing Along With, if you'll excuse me for 1 second. Also from 1956, the Louvin Brothers, and they came out with an album. This is a reissue also on the Stetson label, but this is called Tragic Songs of Life, and it is really a great album. Louvin Brothers, you couldn't go wrong with them. They were really good. You'll find Kentucky on here, and Home Without Love. Alabama is another one of my favorites that's on here. And this, the Louvin Brothers, Tragic Song of Life. Like I said, if you can find the original Capitol album, that's great, but Stetson also reissued it. Coming up to 1957, Red Foley and Ernest Tubb got together, and they put out an album in 1957. And they did a really good job too on this. They were teasing each other, and they had a good, you can tell they had a good time together with this album. No Help Wanted, number 2 is on it. Tennessee Border, number 2. Hillbilly Fever, number 2. Well, they take the old country songs and they make them make fun of them, so to speak. And a really good album. Red and Foley. I love the cover of this. You know, Red is getting ready to light Ernest's guitar on fire, and Ernest is getting ready to clip his strings on his guitar. It's cute. Anyway, that's Red Foley from 57. Then we cruise up to 1958, another Louvin Brothers album, and another reissue on the Stetson label. This is called Ira and Charlie, and of course another home run for them. They did a great job. Don't Let Your Sweet Love Die, We Could, Tennessee Waltz, and just a great album. You can't go wrong with the Louvin Brothers. They were just fantastic in my opinion. They harmonized and everything, and they just did such a great job. They did a lot of gospel albums too. And there's the back of that one, if you can see it. Ira and Charlie and the Louvin Brothers from 1958. Then in 1958, a fellow by the name of Don Gibson. He's from Shelby, North Carolina. And he came out with his first RCA album. And he'd been on MGM for a number of years. And finally struck out with RCA and put out, this is the album that has I Can't Stop Loving You on it, which was a massive #1 hit for him. Blue Blue Day was also a big hit. Oh Lonesome Me, of course, the title cut from the album. And just a good album. I enjoy listening to Don's first RCA Victor album. He changed his style a little bit. I guess Chet Atkins had something to do with that. And hit a home run with this thing. It was a great album. Don Gibson, Oh Lonesome Me. Also from the golden year 1958, Kitty Wales' third album, Lonely Street. She was riding high. She was about the only girl singer around in country music at that point in time. And let me see if I can get the light out of this so you can actually see it. But yeah, she had a great career, especially in the 1950s, because, like I said, she had no female competition. And this was a good album also, is what I'm trying to say. And there's the back of that. It's got I think this is her third album, her third 12-inch album. She'd been going since 1952. And of course, an album that everybody is showing on their videos when they go country, the greatest country, and because it is such a great album. If you don't have a copy of this and you're a country music fan, I urge you to get one. You will enjoy it. Marty Robbins, Gunfighter Ballads and Trail Songs. This is the album with Big Iron on it. It's also got El Paso, of course, which was a massive #1. Let me see, what else is on here? The Master's Call, Running Gun, several other standards that he did. And Marty Robbins, it's one of the best country albums around. A lot of people are agreeing with that. That's from 1959. Gunfighter Ballads and Trail Songs. Gentleman Jim Reeves had a smash hit in 1959 with He'll Have to Go. Or was it 1960? Might have been 1960. But they produced this album, but it's not a traditional album as far as him going into the studio and recording 8 songs. What they did, He'll Have to Go was such a big hit that they pulled a whole bunch of his songs from various years and put them together and made this album. But it is a good album. It's got, He'll Have to Go, I Love You More, If Heartache Is the Fashion. Partners, I think, was a top 10 record for him. I'd Like to Be also was a hit for him. And it's still a great album. It's a compilation, but it's a good album. And it sold millions of copies, of course. And this is one of the records, besides Four Walls, that put him on the map. Four Walls was released as a single and never made an album. Some comedy now. We'll go back to 1960. This is Homer and Jethro at the Country Club, and they have a good time with this. There are a lot of celebrities in the audience. They mentioned Jim Reeves and Archie Campbell and several, Grandpa Jones and several others that are in the audience. But they have a good time with this together and record it. And, it's that Don't Let the Stars Get in Your Eyeballs and Fascination and 16 Tons. They make fun of all those songs, and you'll see that if you don't have a copy of this or can get a copy, it's worth a listen. It really is. It's a good chuckle. Homer and Jethro at the Country Club. There's the back of that one, just in case you're interested. Okay. Also from 1960, Bob Wills and Tommy Duncan had been at odds for several years. They'd broken up. He'd left the band. Tommy Duncan had left the group, and but in 1960 they got back together again, and they put out this album, Together Again, Bob Wills and Tommy Duncan. And it's a good album. This has got a lot of their old hits on it. Take Me Back to Tulsa, The Kind of Love I Can't Forget, Time Changes Everything, San Antonio Rose, Spanish Two Steps, and a lot of their classics. And it's a good, like I said, it's a good listen, and you'll also, if you enjoy Western swing, you'll enjoy this album also, because this was their second album together. Actually, they did put another one together. I forget the title of it, but still a good album. Bob Wills and Tommy Duncan together again with the Texas Playboys. One of the guys' early records that I really enjoy, and I always feel that the early records of most artists are the best. That's just me, and I understand that, but I do enjoy the records of the early entertainers, or their early records, I should say. This is a reissue. This is not the jacket, the picture on the original 1960 album. This was released in the 1970s. It's the same album. It's his early records from 1956 to 1960. And Ray Price, like Buck Owens, was really going strong and had a really great sound. And with hits like Crazy Arms, City Lights, Heartaches by the Numbers, Release Me, One More Time, and several others. He really had this album is just delicious. It just drips with originality, and it's just great. I can't say enough about it. It's like Buck Owens' first best of album. It's just a great album to listen to, and it's great country. Ray Price's greatest hits from 1960. Back to Gentleman Jim Reeves we go. Tall Tales and Short Tempers. These were songs with a story that he put out in 1961 and did pretty well for him. The Blizzard, you've heard from Gentleman Jim Reeves, was a big hit for him. That was basically the biggest hit. It's Nothing to Me was also a hit. He did a version of Danny Boy and The Wreck of Number 9, which was written by Johnny Bond. And his album, Tall Tales and Short Tempers, is good folk material, really. It's got a good folky sound to it, and he gets away from the violins and the horns there for a little while on this album. Jim Reeves, Tall Tales and Short Tempers from 1961. Another one of my favorite country artists, Charlie Walker. I love Charlie. Sound, Johnny Cash, one of his greats. In 1963, a fellow by the name of Bobby Bare came along. He'd been around since 1958, actually. He had put out a record about Elvis Presley. I forgot the name of it right now, but still a good listen. This is, I believe, his first RCA album. It's two of his newest smash hits. Detroit City was #1, and Shame on Me was the other one. Bobby was climbing the charts and doing good back in the early 1960s, and it's a good album. All American Boy was the name of the album, the song from 1958, and that is also on here. So Bobby Bare, Detroit City, and other hits. 1963. Alright, 1963, we'll come up again with another one by Johnny Cash. This is Blood, Sweat, and Tears, which is a good album. They call it the best of Johnny Cash. I don't know why, but The Legend of John Henry's Hammer is on it. That was the big hit. I'm not sure how much radio play that got because it was over 4 minutes long. But Busted is also on it, and Casey Jones was another hit for him back off of this album. And it's a good listen also. Of course, most Johnny Cash albums are a good listen. You can't really go wrong with Johnny Cash. He just had it, and he was great. And that's Blood, Sweat, and Tears from '63. And up, Marty Robbins again from 1963. This is the return of the Gunfighter. Those Gunfighter ballad albums sold like you wouldn't believe, and everybody was buying them. And this is the return of the Gunfighter. He put out a third one. And let me see. I don't have my glasses on, so it's hard to read the songs that are on it. But I believe Mr. Shorty is on here. Old Red is on here. Let's see, the Man Walking Along, I don't know, but anyway, it's a good listen. Marty Robbins, The Return of the Gunfighter. More gunfighting ballads from 63. In 1945, Eddie Arnold started out with a song called Cattle Call, and he used it for the theme of his radio program, and he also, it was a hit for him in the 1940s. Well, in 63, he re-recorded it and put out an album of cowboy songs called Cattle Call, and it's got The Streets of Laredo on it, of course, Old Faithful, The Cowboy's Dream, The Wayward Wind, Cowpoke, which is a good tune, and several others, and a good song also from Eddie Arnold. Let me get the entire album in there for you so you can see it. You can't go wrong with this one either. And like I said, he gets rid of the violins and all that, and this is good folk country. Eddie Arnold, 1963, Cattle Call. By 1963, the Carter Family had been listened to, but they decided to start reissuing some of their stuff, and in '62 RCA issued the first album on Camden. And then they put out this one in November of 1963, and it's called Mid the Green Fields of Virginia. And this album had a lot of the early stuff from the Bristol Sessions, and from 1927, Keep on the Sunny Side, which was their theme of the radio show, Bury Me Under the Weeping Willow, let's see, My Clinch Mountain Home, Mid the Green Fields of Virginia, and several others of the early. These are the 1920s and early 30s copies of the Carter Family. Like I said, it's the second release, but it's also the first on RCA Victor, and a good copy of their early stuff that as they were coming along from 1927 all the way up to 1934 was the last one on this album. 1963 was also the year that a young lady came up and broke the doors open. Of course, she had a lot of help from Ernest Tubb. She had a lot of help from Patsy Cline. That's Loretta Lynn. She had been on the Zero label for a long time and finally got off of that, and Decca bought her early stuff from that label, and they signed her to a contract, and they put out Loretta Lynn Sings. This is a reissue from the Stetson people, because if you can find her first album, good luck, on Decca. But this is a great album. This is a good copy of her early materials. I mean, she was country. There's no doubt about it. Success is the hit off of it. Act Naturally, she also does. Color of the Blues, which she wrote, I believe. But anyway, The Other Woman and several others. This is a great Loretta Lynn album, and one I can recommend to anybody, especially if you're a Loretta Lynn fan. Loretta Lynn Sings. And finally, we got to from Carl Butler. Came out with his first big hit, Don't Let Me Cross Over. This is the broadcast copy that I have, but it's the original jacket. And Carl and Pearl Butler were hit 63, 64, and 65, if I remember correctly. Don't Let Me Cross Over was the big hit on it, and I think that's a Honky Tonk Itis. That was also a good song from them. It's just, what can I say? It's just good country. So if you find a copy of that, you might want to pick it up. It's from 1963. And that does the first intro to my favorites of country music. Hope you enjoyed that. Hope you find some of those records if you're looking for them. They are still out there. And I'm looking forward to the next one. We'll go from 1963 on up to, I don't know, somewhere around 1968. And I'll show you some of the my personal likes of country music in those years. Until we meet you again, this is Mr. Rick saying that if the good Lord's willing and the creeks don't rise, we'll see you before long.